There is a major update on Bray Wyatt's WWE return. WWE stars have teased an impending departure from the company, and a WWE Hall of Fame tag team is reuniting soon. Stay tuned for the news. We're going to kick things off today with a little update on Bray Wyatt. Obviously, he has been gone from our screens since February time. It looked like he was going to enter a feud with Bobby Lashley, going into WrestleMania, but it didn't happen. It was kind of an unfortunate case of there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and we finally got a little bit update on that from Fightful Select, saying Bray Wyatt is finally getting closer to clearance after almost 6 months without it. Wyatt has battled an illness that they won't disclose, and the company and Wyatt have been taking extra precautions to make sure that his long-term health is accounted for. Of late, they've confirmed that Wyatt isn't actively cleared right now, but those that Fightful have spoken to is saying that he's getting closer to coming back. It's been a real shame that he's been out of action. Thankfully, obviously they're keeping it very close to their chest. It's not something. If it's something that close, it's kind of a good thing that it doesn't get out.
Yeah, you know, when it's something like a serious illness, that, you know, it's not really something that needs to be shared with the public, right? It's a personal matter, and it's one that, you know, we're just happy that Bray seems to be fighting off and on his road to recovery from.
Absolutely. Well, it says in the same report that there have been some creative ideas presented to Wyatt from WWE. One source indicating to them that some of the ideas were mentioned for September. However, that doesn't mean anything until he's actually cleared. September is very close, and if he's still not got that clearance, it might get pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, you know, the window for creative can always be, you know, manipulated a little bit, can't it? If you know you need X, Y, and Z to happen to start this story, you can just keep pushing that back and keep pushing that back. But, you know, eventually you might have to change the plans, but fingers crossed that we can get this and we'll see Bray back as fast as possible.
Fingers crossed. It's felt like a big gap on TV. Obviously, when he came back last October time, he kind of was a big deal every single week. I remember sitting here at this table and us going, "Oh, that promo was so good."
Yeah, and it just sort of the issue with it seemed to be that it just kept kind of going along that route for a little bit. But I feel that with this time away, it's maybe a way that Bray can kind of come back fresh completely as well. And it feels like an odd thing to say, especially with the severity of what's happening. But it feels like, you know, that there's been enough time here that Bray can come back and kind of pursue whatever he wants now.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to keep going with that same creative.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the severity of it there, with Sean Rossap adding more to his report, saying after today's update, it was explained to Fightful that the illness that Bray Wyatt is actively recovering from was both career and life-threatening, which is absolutely tragic. That obviously, again, it shouldn't ever, if he doesn't want that information out there of what he's been dealing with. But the fact that the company has been supporting him throughout that time in terms of giving him the space that he needs and not rushing anything, it's a really, really great sign. Sean went into more detail, saying that Bray Wyatt was hospitalized late February, which led to all future plans being cancelled. So February was the time it looked like we were getting that Bobby Lashley feud, and then it was scrapped. Fightful Select also confirms a few of the people who would have been involved in the Wyatt storyline, saying that there were ideas for Wyatt to be integrated with Alexa Bliss, Eric Young, and Uncle Howdy / Bo Dallas. However, after Bray Wyatt was sidelined, Alexa had maternity leave, and then Eric Young requested to leave WWE and has since rejoined Impact. What do you want to see Bray do when he gets that clearance, when he gets back to WWE?
I feel like I'd like to see something entirely new, but at the same time, we didn't really get to explore much of the last incarnation of Bray Wyatt. So it makes sense that we logically maybe continue along that path, maybe with some tweaks, maybe with some refinement that we wouldn't have maybe gone toward before. We've heard, you know, in and around backstage before Bray took time away from the company, that there were kind of shuffles going on with his writing team, because he has like a team around him.
He's got his own team, right?
Yeah. Who's helping him with his creative. So it's one of those things where I wouldn't be shocked if we continued on, but I would, for some reason, I don't know why, I'd like to see maybe something entirely new, or maybe in a bit of an amalgamation of all of Bray Wyatt.
Yes, bring all the characters together. He's certainly someone that WWE can thrust into a position that is at the top of the card, in the middle of the card, just something. He's someone that has that aura about him, that even if you don't like the creative that he's been presenting, he's a big deal. And he's someone that if Roman Reigns needs a new challenger, that could be it. And we actually have a video on the channel right now. Ross broke down who is going to possibly be the ones to beat the,
belt
champions.
Belt, yeah.
He went every single championship in WWE. Could Bray Wyatt be one of the guys to end Roman Reigns' undisputed WWE Universal Championship reign?
Potentially,
maybe. We'll see. But we're going to stay with WWE just now and talking about a departure. What's the update on this too?
So earlier this year, James Drake and Zach Gibson, aka Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler, announced that they wouldn't be renewing their WWE contracts and will become free agents in October. Now, whilst they've been used in key storyline over the past month or so, embroiled in a feud with the Creed brothers, they haven't changed their minds when it comes to their future. James Drake and Jagger Reed confirmed this, tweeting, 2024 is only 4 months away versus ? Let me know, LMK.
Who do you at the top of the list? The first ones that come to my mind when you're reading that just now, Aussie Open. I would love to see the grizzled young vets versus Aussie Open.
I would love to see them. I think a lot of people are going to kind of just go like, AEW immediately because it's just sort of the stock answer now, isn't it? But I really think that they could make some magic in New Japan,
New Japan, also Impact. I feel like if they wanted to solidify themselves as one of the top teams there.
Get them in there with Gabriel Kidd, get them in the War Dogs, get them in around that.
You think they could
put them in
quite well?
You don't need to put them even in. Just get them around it.
Forearms and battering each other.
Just that promo game back and forth.
It is a shame that WWE hasn't utilized them to their fullest, potential. I think as a team, they were one of the most solid teams on the UK independent scene. They had a really good run in NXT UK and NXT as the grizzled young vets. It's just a shame they've been stuck as part of the
It just feels like it's kind of like it's second gear, right? And we need to start moving up because we know they're capable of so much more. We've seen them on the indies. We know that they're able to just there's so much more there. So I feel like betting on themselves is the right thing to do. And Cody proved quite definitively, Matt Cardona proved quite definitively, a lot of talent proving quite definitively you can bet on yourself and you can make it a success. And you don't need to be at WWE.
Well, personally, I would love to see them going to Impact. I think they'd be the top, one of the top tag teams in that division. And staying with Impact just a second, due to popular demand, they're coming back over at the UK in a few months' time, and they've added an extra show. It's that popular. It is that big over here that Impact has decided to extend their tour by a date in Coventry on Sunday, the October 29th. They will emanate from the HMV Empire for a second night of wrestling. Are you excited for the UK tour? They're coming to Newcastle.
I think Impact has always had a strong following here. Even during the dark days, Impact had a very strong following here. It was some of the only free full wrestling shows you could watch on TV for a very long time. So a lot of people have an affinity for the brand in its many different forms. And I like the fact that Impact are doing a UK tour. I would very much like for them to. I know that they're not exactly a WWE sized company, and they maybe can't do it yearly, but a UK show yearly would be amazing. A UK tour every couple of years would be fantastic.
It's nice to see all these companies, WWE, AEW, Impact, New Japan as well, going, the UK is an audience that we can go to, and they will come out and see us. They will come and see us.
We're begging for pay-per-views.
Obviously AEW's just done the scale and breaking records with Wembley, but it's surely a sign that, look, this is a market that is hungry for wrestling, and we'll just go to as many shows as possible. Really great that Impact's been able to announce a new date and extend that journey over here a bit longer. You've got to imagine they'll pack it with some of the hottest UK talents. Joe Hendry's already announced, the local hero.
Why don't we just double up Newcastle as well? Go on.
Just an extra night here.
Night on the big market, lads.
Oh my God, that would be chaos. Imagine. But we're actually staying with Impact once again because yesterday on Busted Open Radio, it was announced that a team is going to be reuniting. That team is none other than Team 3D. Oh my, like you say, the golden days of TNA. This is the golden days of TNA. For a while, I thought that Devon wasn't cleared to wrestle, so I'm glad to see that this is, maybe not the case. But I will always have an affinity for the Dudley Boys. Growing up in the time period I did, enjoying the type of wrestling that I did. Me and my brother wrestling everybody else in the front garden on the street. It's I don't know, like the Dudleys, no matter what, I'll watch them. They're so entertaining, especially the fact that Bully Ray being able to reinvent himself as well. Devon, just one of the most entertaining aspects of Team 3D and the Dudley Boys was Devon, and then I'm excited to see them back together. Obviously, Devon's worked behind the scenes in the past few years. But it was announced that it will take place at Impact Wrestling's 1000th episode on September 9th in New York. It's going to be a big show.
Now, that's the only issue I have. Why aren't we at the fairgrounds? Why aren't we in the Impact Zone?
It needs to be in the Impact Zone at Universal Studios. You know,
I want the old tunnel back with the rear-facing camera and the smoke machines.
The 2 tunnels.
And the casual audience that's come in from a day at the park. That's what I want.
It's the dream. I wish they would go back to that studio because it felt so like Impact, like it felt great.
At the same time, though, Impact's done a hell of a lot of good work to really reinvigorate the brand since, you know, the very dark days of, hey, we're going to go head-to-head with Raw. Hey, we've got Hulk Hogan.
Hey, I tuned into that Impact. I was all about that Jeff Hardy sitting on top of the asylum.
But I think that, you know, just having these shows in bigger markets, obviously, is a good thing. You've got die-hard wrestling audience in New York. You're going to have a guaranteed hot crowd there for it. It should be a hell of a night.
It's going to be a big show.
1,000 episodes, man.
It's crazy that it's been going that long, going back to the days, you know, Jeff Jarrett founding the company.
And it's fighting strong as well. It's fighting strong.
It has had peaks and troughs, but it has absolutely come back, and it's a staple of wrestling right now. And it's crazy to see how much it's changed. But Tom actually sat down with Impact Wrestling founder Jeff Jarrett, and it's on the channel now. He had afternoon tea.
Yeah.
He had afternoon tea with Jeff Jarrett. They discussed AEW. They discussed All In and the renaissance that Jeff Jarrett's going through right now. So make sure you check that one out. I'm sure there'll be more news later on throughout the day here on the youtube.com/Cultaholic, and just stay tuned to the website. We've got lots of fun news like Zack Saber's new finisher. Check it out, and we'll see you later.